So the question is, do I value receiving love? And I read this in some way. I kind of deduced it from a passage of a book that I've been reading over the last several months called The Way of Mastery. And when I read this a couple days ago, I literally just, you know how you just read something and then it just hits you, right? And this one hit me. I'm like, huh, am I willing, do I value receiving love? And because if I do value receiving love, then the world will begin to show up completely differently for me. And if the world is not showing up, meaning the things that I want to manifest in my life aren't necessarily showing up in the way I would like to have them received, then this is a really good question for me to ask myself. Like, okay, if I'm not receiving those things, then maybe I unconsciously am not valuing the receivership of love.
It's funny. And then you mentioned the unconscious, right? And that's something I've always noticed. And I find I notice more and more just, and you hear the thing like, what is it? 95% of our whole existence, our being is run by our subconscious. And there's so much going on underneath the surface. And I find it can be really challenging to know if you are fully believing something, let's say. So this idea of, do I deserve to feel love? And I think on the surface, most people will be like, well, obviously I deserve that. Of course I deserve it.
Right.
Yeah, sure. I deserve it. You'll say it, but do you actually believe it? Is like the next
Well,
layer.
okay, so there's a difference, okay, because it's not deserve as much as it is, do I allow the receivership of love to come into me?
That's a good point.
Right.
Mm,
So, and I just wrote something down here and I want to read it, that nothing can be received until a place is prepared for it to enter.
love that.
And that you can only give what you have been willing to receive.
Mm. And vice versa,
Right.
right? It's a two-way street. That's really interesting because that totally resonates with me. I find, especially as we do what you might call shadow work or deeper work on challenging emotions, challenging aspects of your being, traumas, whatever you want to call it. Once you do, let's say, a good amount of work on a particular aspect of yourself, it clears this space. And then you've got that space now for these new opportunities, people, feelings, whatever they are that come into your life. And the only way they can is by clearing that kind of space. It's like, why do we meditate? Well, there's so many reasons, but one of the beautiful reasons for meditation is that it clears a little bit of that space in your mind so new ideas can come in, so downloads can come in. But if you're like that pot of water on the stove and it's already boiling over, there's you don't have any room to put anything else in there. It's already overflowing. So you have to create space somewhere and somehow.